Hello, ladies and gentlemen, those of unspecified gender. My name is LL17, and this is the first episode recording slash thing of the Tournament of Champions. Tournament of Fiction, not Champions. This is its own thing, unrelated to the thing that I like ripping off. But basically, this is just a debate live for a tournament that is basically bullshit. It's bullshit. It gives me content for money. I don't get paid. I don't. But the fact of the matter is, let's get down to business here. There's two people in this chat that will be debating live. Not actually live, but it will be live any other time, but I'm sick, so I can't really, do the whole live part of it right now, so. And I'm still working on that, so. But I'm just making a recording the first episode, so. Along with, all of this being done very fastly, so they didn't have a whole time of research, so they'll be just trying their best to get research in and stuff. But the way this works is that there will be 3 people voting today, but usually it's 4. I say people, many people for one of them, which is a live poll that will go live towards the end of this recording, or live stream if it was live. ChatGPT, which isn't a person, I will ask ChatGPT who they think wins out of the 2 characters, and they will decide. And then me, the person gets to listen to the debate and actually hear it and hear them out. Today's fight, which is round 1 of the Tournament of Fiction, is Samus Aran versus Sans Undertale. We have 2 people that I will introduce shortly. Already several things to say, but
I disagree.
1,
that was only like 15 seconds because of the fact that there's no way that was 60.
I gave him 60 and that was 60. I'm telling you, it's short.
Wow. All right. One second. I just gotta reassemble myself real quick.
While he's reassembling himself, and William will be going first, and 60 seconds uninterrupted for each of them, and then it goes 60 for one, 60 for the other, and then they can go into the debating themselves. So, here we go. So now I'm pulling it up. 1, 2, 3.
All right, Mr. Sans Undertale, I'd suggest that you go first.
Voice working? Alright, good. It is. Alright, so I'm basing my argument off the fact that you wouldn't necessarily have to beat Sans and it wouldn't necessarily be a regular versus battle, but rather I would imagine that you would have to, the character at hand would sort of have to beat the game necessarily, considering the way the whole universe does work. I believe that depending on the intelligence of the character and, if they can actually figure out what the hell is going on, which I believe would be extremely hard, I believe that Sans would be able to beat Samus purely because of the fact that they would have to beat them in the game.
And that's your 60 seconds up. I will be resetting the timer. We can go on. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Please. I'm trying to get enough. I'm doing this purely for watch time, so I can get money. Because what I want to do is actually I want to do a charity stream. This is the first time I've ever talked about this, but I want to get a charity stream, and to get the ability to get charity donations, I need the ability to get super chats, and to get super chats, I need you guys to watch videos. So, yeah. Please, watch these as many times as possible. Which is only 5. Because you can only, fun fact, you can only watch something 5 times before it stops being counted as viewership, which is kind of sucky. But also, I guess, fair. good. I did my
All
part.
right. I think I might be ready here.
All right. You're on.
Okay. So Sans is, he's just a skeleton. He's made of bones, right? It only, from my perspective, it only depends on whether his life force is more spiritual than physical, because he may have like casters and other types of things, but even if you put him into the game with since Samus is a lot more versatile, flexible. She has a lot more physical ability, and sometimes, especially with her suit, she has very powerful weaponry. For example, like laser beams and such. I'm not sure what the exact name, but since Samus would be a lot more powerful than Frisk, I think even if it takes place within game standards of Undertale, that she could win, especially considering that Samus has beaten Ridley plenty of times, and Ridley is a very, very powerful being. He is a giant.
That's your 60 seconds up.
All right, thank you.
First thing I'm gonna say here is game mechanics don't necessarily matter. It's only what they can do, which game mechanics actually help Sans' argument, but also not game mechanics do because of the infinite hallway. Have you researched the infinite hallway?
No, unfortunately not.
I'm talking to William. I think he may be AFK.
No, I have not. Sorry about that. My mic is just shitty.
Let me explain to the viewers at home and everything. So the infinite hallway is basically an infinite expanding hallway, which is what happens in the Sans Undertale fight, which is to say that hallway that you're having to dodge Gastroblasts until you're able to, I think, pick up one and then shoot Sans if you're able to actually beat him and survive the thing, is he spins you into an infinite expanding hallway. And the theory is basically the Achilles and the tortoise theory, which is very similar to the Limitless from Jujutsu Kaisen, which is anytime Achilles moves, the tortoise would have took 5 steps forward because they gave it a head start. So anytime he's about to get up, the tortoise will move, catch up to the tortoise. The tortoise will move 1 step. So he will always be 1 step behind, which means there's an infinite space where Achilles can never touch the tortoise. Unless you have something that goes beyond infinity in speed, therefore you could never touch Sans. And also the Gastroblast attack their soul directly. I don't know if he's researched that though.
Yes. And also, let's assume this were let's assume this were a non-mechanically inclined fight. We must consider the general near-infinite teleportation shown from Sans.
You guys don't
So, but that.
Let's see. So, it matters how fast Sans can move, because it's to me, I wouldn't be necessarily teleporting, but he moves at least as fast as towards that. He looks like he's moving with himself without actually moving at all, considering that he's always just standing there menacingly.
You got. I'm gonna do the whole thing.
Wait,
You do make a good point, and if Samus were to get a single hit off on Sans, he would likely die. But the problem is, well, hitting him in the first place.
Well, I mean, like I explained with my my overall point was the fact that Samus is has a lot more physical ability than Frisk, which is we'll just call Frisk as a man for now. But Frisk, he is just literally like basically a small child, and because of the fact that all he needed was a small knife, it was possible for him to get a hit, therefore making it even more possible for Samus to get one because of her physical ability and her weaponry that she has access to.
I'm not trying to defend Samus. I'm trying to be non-biased as possible. But does Samus have anything to get past the infinite hallway?
Does Samus have what?
Anything to get past the infinite hallway?
Well, considering the Metroid universe is it's a wacky place. It really it is. It's horrific. There's so much going on at once. There's always something to deal with, and there's things like I'm not exactly for sure what they're called, but they basically just capture your mind. It's very possible because the Metroid universe, like its time and space, is very futuristic. That Samus would have something of a teleporter that's interdimensional and can travel across space and even time. So it's very possible that Samus could get out of the hallway if she has it with her.
One thing we must consider is Sans was able to dodge many of Char's attacks even while he was sleeping. The only really reason they were able to hit him was because they broke the game's mechanics. Would instinctively Samus be able to figure out how to do that?
Instinctively, no, but it matters whether she has to go through the entire game or not. Then it would have to lead up to that. But my belief is the fact that she can, because if a basic human within the game can do it, she is no basic human, so she should be able to do it with even more of a possibility of power. Actually, might not even have to break the game's mechanics in order to do it.
So the way this fight would go, can I set the stage here?
Yeah.
It's basically Samus has not. It doesn't matter if Samus has to play the game. The main thing is that game mechanics do not matter in the world. The main point is can Sans' abilities defeat Samus's like tech, armor, or abilities. It doesn't really matter like getting through the game or specific mechanics unless that's directly stated to be a mechanic for like an ability for Sans.
I highly do believe with many of Sans' attacks targeting the soul that they would be able to necessarily penetrate through Samus's armor.
Okay.
Okay, that's understandable. Now I wouldn't say that Samus has literally literally everything, but like I said earlier, because of how futuristic Metroid is, I'm just going off of base of idea that there could be some sort of like, heck, she could have like a backup soul. It's very to me, it's very possible. Um, if we're going into game mechanics wise, which technically it's invalid, um, she can respawn and just do everything over again. So,
That would not
theoretically
count.
speaking, she has backup souls. There could also be something that grants like armor to the basis of her spiritual body. And if game mechanics don't matter, the game mechanics could also be considered broken as well. Therefore, Sans would be vulnerable to her attacks.
Perhaps I will agree with you on that point.
I will say this. I have to look through the like tech she has, but I'm not seeing anything that allows instant teleportation.
Instant teleportation? Are you talking about what I was talking about earlier with the infinite hallway?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, just continue looking at that because I wasn't necessarily talking about instant teleportation, but a way of something similar to be able to reach out of the infinite hallway. Because technically speaking, the infinite hallway is a game mechanic.
It's not a game mechanic. It's directly stated to be a power that Sans has.
Oh yeah. Can we also consider the fact that he can indeed manipulate the soul and add weight to it, seeing that he was able to throw around Chara simply by, well, targeting their soul.
That is true.
Yeah. I also got the fact that he was able to, well, talk Chara out of killing him, even on the genocide route.
Well, I mean, it matters. It matters what psychological power that Samus has, and I think that Samus is also well trained in her own mind to be able to combat that kind of manipulation.
I will say the whole maybe psychological manipulation like that might be less effective on Samus. I'll concur that.
So let's talk about Sans Gaster Beam. All right. So he has a Gaster Beam, right? He has other abilities, obviously, but let's talk about that specifically. So it's a beam, right? How powerful is it really? Like, what kind of beam is it?
It directly hits the soul.
Yes, indeed.
I know what it targets, but how powerful is it? What kind of beam is it? How could it be combated? Because it could depend on what kind of beam it that have some sort of counter.
It would probably act like similar to like imagine a beam in Metroid, like an actual or just like a blaster. It's basically just a bolt of soul energy that directly hits someone's soul through their body and durability. It would bypass durability.
Would bypass basically anything.
That is arguable if they have other soul feats that can directly combat that.
Yeah. Like if someone had multiple souls or something, say someone like Alucard, or maybe even just some sort of other soul manipulation, then yeah, I would say they would probably be able to combat it.
Like if they were fighting a Naruto character or like a Dragon Ball character, which Ki and Chakra are directly stated to be soul energy, they could use Ki to basically block the attack.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it say anywhere that Samus has any kind of those beats or any kind of text that deals with like more spiritual kind of things? Because I consider the soul to be like on this basis to be more of a spiritual thing because it's not necessarily a game mechanic in this situation.
Yeah. We also do have the whole karma poisoning thing, which can be inflicted through certain attacks.
Is that one of Sans's abilities, or is that one of Sans's vulnerabilities?
One of Sam's abilities.
Interesting. I never knew about a poison that Sans could inflict. Because his main power is the Gaster Beam and literally throwing you around. That's his two main things. I mean, and Bones, of course, which is within the Infinite Hallway, but those are easily dodgeable.
We can include composite feats if we want to make this a bit more interesting here. We could give Samus her Smash Brothers feats.
Well, I've just been talking about Samus overall. I've never been talking about a specific kind.
Yes, but all of your feats have specifically stated that are all things that happen in her mainline games. If we talk about Smash Brothers, that opens a new can of worms.
Yeah. One thing is that might not necessarily apply to combat, but Sans does have some level of fourth wall acknowledgement at the very least. And their general canon.
That is very true. That is very true. He is directly. There have been at least a conversation with YouTubers that Sans has directly talked towards the player than anything else.
I will say this: if we use the Smash Brothers feats, Samus does fight Kirby, who is directly stated to be a god that can kill like everything, and if they don't exist anymore,
Yeah.
they cease to. They cause the collapse of their reality, which would go above soul manipulation, because if they kill Kirby, they can inflict that. But also, it's arguable, and also that's only if we use the non-canon Smash Brothers, and even then, Smash Brothers is technically fictional in its own world and does not actually do anything.
Yeah, so if it's fictional in its own world, even if we do consider it canon, then I don't think we can necessarily take in the feats there.
But theoretically speaking, if you add any Smash Brothers content, she can defeat a god. Therefore, she could more than likely defeat Sam.
That's even arguable
Then,
because, technically speaking, the infinite hallway would still stop Samus from hitting them, because the feats shown in Smash Brothers specifically show that it's not necessarily that powerful. But
and again, we must
FTL
consider. And again, we must consider, even in Smash Brothers, even if Samus can't defeat Kirby, Samus could still very easily get defeated by Wii Fit Trainer.
But also, composite Wii Fit Trainer is apparently a god. So they're probably all
Or,
around. They're all equal to the highest powerful being, which is roughly Kirby, which in his own mainline series is a god above gods, like in monstrous eldritch deity. But the fact of the matter is that
going,
that would just mean Wii Fit Trainer is that strong.
yeah. or perhaps the characters in Smash Bros. Are more glass cannon-y in a way. Highly strong attacks, but still, well, able to be taken out easily.
That is very true.
Yes, but then you get into like Galeem and all of that, which is shown to be like gods that can in fact kill Kirby and do all of this, and Kirby is the only one who's able to get away because he has an instant moving ability with just a Warp Star.
Oh, yeah.
Which I guess proves the point that even if we use Smash Brothers, Samus, unlike Kirby, because they don't have an instantaneous warping ability, could not escape Galeem.
Yeah. So,
I think I should. I'll give us a little bit of time to do like a last. What's our last thoughts? I'll give you guys another 60 seconds to do your last thoughts and your last points to see who wins before I make my decision. Let me pop up the timer, and it should be good.
All right, William, you go first.
All right, I'll go first. Overall, I do think that Samus does have a high possibility of, well, being able to take out Sans, but only under the conditions that they are able to, well, somehow catch up with him in combination with the near infinite teleportation and the infinite hallway, while being able to, well, dodge all of the attacks that directly target the soul. I pass on to you.
So, with what you have said, going off of that logic, seeing that Samus seeing the fact that Sans has a near infinite teleportation, meaning that it is still finite, meaning that Samus could theoretically still catch up with Sans and at least manage to do something to him to increase his vulnerability or decrease his physical health or any of that wise. Depending on what kind of technology Samus has access to and whether we implicate the many different kinds of canon that we can, theoretically speaking, Samus can still defeat Sans in probably more than one way. I think that
You
it's all
have your time. I will make my decision after I get chat GPTs.
okay.
Let's ask chat GPT. Let's see if this computer has the comparable ability to figure out who would win in a fight.
There, this is Sans. Just wanted to say, make sure to subscribe to LL's channel.
Thank you, Sans, for the shameless plug.
Insert Samus Aran. I have one note.
They said Samus.
Interesting.
I will give my vote next. From all I have seen, I have to go with Sans. There is nothing that I've able to be seen that Samus can get past the infinite hallway. I was not able to see any evidence from them saying that the highest feats for speed in Metroid and even in Smash Brothers for Samus is faster than light, massively faster than light. But the fact of the matter is that doesn't matter when they're moving down an infinite hallway. They need infinite speed or instant teleportation. So, and then there is nothing to protect them from soul manipulation, which they can dodge the Gastro Blasters, but they could not exactly like live them forever and be able to meet them at a stalemate. So now we have to wait for a solid, like,